With this, I will request Mr. Sanjay Seth to take the proceedings forward.
Uh, Good afternoon once again, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, I think after the first very invigorating and a session which was conducted by Dr. Mathur, I have this onerous task of getting into this panel discussion organized by the Bengal Chambers of Commerce and Industry. Now going to be talking of how the challenges of both meeting the power realities in India from generation to the end consumer. I think that is something which we are going to deliberate upon. And I have an esteemed panel with me. It has been reduced from earlier, the 5 speakers that we had earlier entailed. And we have with us Mr. Prithviraj Nath from Kutz International, which is a leading India non-government organization as the voice and face of the consumers. Mr. A.K. Goswami, who is the Director, India Power Corporation Limited, on my right. He has a 9-decade-long legacy of a responsive, so it's more of a renewable agency that you are, right? You're into renewable integration, distribution and renewable generation. And Mr. Mandal, who's, of course, the President, Business Development, from the Techno Electric and Engineering Company Limited, which is again, I think, an engineering a turnkey. Are you a turnkey? So EPC contractor. So once again, a very warm welcome to you all. I'm Sanjay Seth, Secretary in the Bureau of Energy Efficiency. Now in the session that was led by Dr. Mathur in the morning, we heard about climate change, we heard about renewables, we heard about how to augment our capacities in the generation side, how do we go about meeting demand management, and I think this is all very imperative given the context in which we are presently placed. India has been very, very greatly undeserved as far as energy availability and the energy usage is concerned. The average per capita of energy supply in India was only about 640 kilograms of oil equivalent per person in 2012, as compared to the world average of about 19 kilograms of oil equivalent, and the OECD average, which is about 4,190. So you can see the disparities that we are presently faced on. This energy supply enhancement has a direct correlation, as we know, with the quality of life, and I think in the session ahead, there were questions that were raised on the Human Development Index. The HDI of India, the Human Development Index of India, in 2012 was only about 0.55 as compared to the global average of about 0.70, and that as compared to the OECD, which is about 0.92. Now, having said that, we also know that India's primary energy demand will increase to about 3 to 4 times by 2030, and the Government of India has carried out a range of interventions which, to enhance this energy supply and to ensure electricity availability to all households by 24/7 by 2019. Now, how are they going about doing this is obviously not only enhancing the energy generation capacity, but also enhancing the proportion of renewables in our energy mix, managing our imports, and then obviously the most important element, which is demand side management, where the BE is working. Now, when we talk about enhancing the energy supply and making the 24/7 quality power available to all the consumers, it's very important to note that in India, the ability and willingness to pay for quality is still very, very low. And that is why we have to keep the end consumer, the price that the end consumer has to pay is very, very critical. Enhancing energy supply has to be carried out while considering the overall impact on the consumer. So that becomes the key to whatever we do. With these opening remarks, I think what I plan to do is the session that we have, since we have to manage also the time that we have been allotted, and there are 3 speakers that we have, what I would do is I would request Mr. A.K. Goswami to come in first and give his perspective on the distribution, on your distribution and on your. So, do you have a presentation or?
No, I just speak.
You will speak extempo. Okay. So, do you think about 10 minutes would be fine for you?
Yeah.
So we will give him 10 minutes to give his perspective on this background that I have put forth. After which I would invite the President, the EPC contractor to give his inputs. And finally, you know, when it comes to the consumer, how Kutch is going to be addressing most of these issues. So this is how we are going to slot it. The first, and then after they have spoken, I think I'll give 10 minutes each to 3 of these speakers. And then after that, we'll open it out to the House for any questions that they may have. So, with Mr. Goswami first, would you like to speak from here, or would you like to go there?
Very good afternoon to all of you. Firstly, I want to tell about what we do as an India Power. We are actually generation as well as in the distribution business. We are exposed to fossil fuel thermal generation. We have wind generation. Also, we are exposed to solar power. And we do distribution as a licensee. Also, we do distribution as a franchisee. So both types we are exposed to. I just want to tell the audience that, you know, whatever we do, at the end of the day, we have to satisfy the consumer actually. Whether we generate, whether we transmit, or we distribute. Our primary goal is to satisfy the consumer. And if we can give quality power free, then the consumer will be very happy actually. Because they will like to have free electricity, free water, everything free. But, you know, in economics, it doesn't work actually. So, any company, whenever they supply electricity, they have to also find out whether the company can sustain. So, by just telling that I will supply power very low, that is 2 rupees, 3 rupees, and I will buy power at 5 rupees, 6 rupees, so the company does not sustain. It is not sustainable actually. I give you an example. Suppose I buy power, I have a mixed, you know, basket. I buy power, say wind power at 4 rupees. I buy power, solar power as 5 rupees, and I buy power, hydro power at say 1 rupees, and thermal power as 2 rupees 50. Whom I am going to pay first actually? Whenever I have to pay, after I purchase the power, when I like to pay them, I will pay last to the solar power. Similarly, like the other day, one of my friend was telling that in Cochin, waste to energy, PPA has been signed at 11 rupees. And the company is very happy that he has signed PPA 11 rupees. So my friend was telling that, you know, the company is thinking that I will get the money at 11 rupees per unit. But is it sustainable? Everybody knows that after 1 or 2 years, that PPA will not be accepted. They will just cancel it actually. The DISCOM will cancel that PPA and will say that 11 rupees is too high. If you can match at 2 rupees or 3 rupees, that average purchase price which he has, then he will buy it. So you have to think about the sustainable business as well. So today we are talking about green energy. Now in the green energy, unless we bring down the price in such a level that it competes with the average purchase price of a DISCOM, that is not sustainable actually. So in long run, you will find that this green energy is going to fail. Like we have green energy 100 megawatts in Rajasthan. Now Rajasthan government DISCOM has signed PPA with us, 5 rupees, and what they are doing it is that they don't pay us actually. It's all areas, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, then we go there, we say that okay, pay something, so they get some subsidy from the government of India, and then they will pay for 1 month, 2 months. So it is not a sustainable business actually. Also what they do, when we have a good wind time, now we are generating power, but there is no evacuation because they are not taking our power. Instead, they are taking power from, say, hydropower, because Bhakra is giving them a low power, so they are taking from there. They are not taking our power, so we are getting waste actually. We are generating, but no evacuation. Why? Because the PPA is 5 rupees. So it is not, this is not a sustainable business unless the price, the average purchase price and the green energy, that cost of that generation, they match each other actually. This is, everybody must understand that actually. To achieve that, what will be the method? Method is that technology and innovation has to be there so that the cost of green power also get reduced. So that is the challenge, and which we should think of that. Now number 2, for carbon emission, I also say something else. Like today, DISCOM losses are average. There are some places is 60%, some places is 20%, 30%, but average is about 35 to 40% is the average loss in our DISCOM actually. Now suppose we can buy some mains, like our DISCOM, where we have a license area, there our T&D loss is only 2.3% actually. Whereas where we have a franchisee in Gaya, Bodh Gaya, our loss we started with 78% and today we have come down to 58% in 1.5 years. And we have to bring it down to 25%. And how it can be achieved actually. It is 2 ways. One is there is commercial losses where there is lot of theft goes on, and another one is your technical losses. Technical loss can always be addressed by any distribution company by way of technology. There are a lot of technology available now today in the world, and if these DISCOMs can actually use those technology, then technical losses can be reduced. And this is very, very essential, and Government of India is also, our Power Minister, Mr. Piyush Goyal, also is very much interested in that. We have a lot of interactions with him on these issues, that technical losses in India, whether it is distribution, whether it is transmission, this must be reduced actually. Now, third point I wanted to say is that, as Mr. Seth said very clearly, that growth of a country or development of a country directly related with the electricity consumption. Today in India, the last which I have with me is, our consumption in 2005-06 was 631 per capita, and today I have up to 2013, it is 917 per capita. Whereas in other countries like Australia it is 11,000, in Canada it is 16,000, in France it is 7,000, means nowhere it is less than 8 to 10,000 actually. So that means for development of our country, we have to have power consumption also increased actually. Now, energy efficient people will say, no, it should be the other way around. Our power consumption should reduce actually. I also agree with that, because like we use a incandescent lamp earlier, 100 watt lamp. Today we are using maybe 7 watts or 15 watts LED lamps actually. So, but we are getting the same power. Similarly, like ACs, earlier years our ACs used to consume lot of power. Today we have 5-star ACs which consuming much less. We have inverter ACs which are consuming even further less actually. So it is not that today only you have to increase our consumption by unit. We have to increase the facilities which we will be using them actually. That is how we have to do it. It is not the per capita that our unit will be increased, but like number of gadgets we may increase, but energy efficient gadget we should use it. So that at the end of the day, carbon emission of our country will be reduced. Like I said, loss reduction. If we today, like we can reduce the loss, then what happens is that we are actually not generating anything. That means there is no carbon emission. It is because that carbon emission was already there. We were only losing that power in either in distribution or transmission systems. So if you can reduce that, then that also will control our carbon emission. With that, I say thank you all of you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Goswami. I think they were all very well made points. The capacity to pay, and you brought, again the focus back on the capacity to pay, and especially when it comes to your own payments, then the health of the DISCOMs is very, very important. And as we know that the present the DISCOMs, the health of the DISCOMs are not very good. The AT&C losses that they have are currently on an average is about 35 to 40%. The government's aim, and some of them have been brought down to about 23%, and the ultimate objective is to bring them down to less than 15%. But obviously this is by 2020 is what we are aiming at is 23%, and thereafter to less than 15%. In this entire endeavor, and the other point that you made about the correlation to the Human Development Index and the per capita consumption. You mentioned it, I mentioned it in kilograms of oil equivalent, you mentioned it in terms of units. And I agree with you, but the average per capita consumption in India is about less than 1,000 units, and whereas if you compare it to the US, it's about 12,500 units. So we agree that there is a lot of disparity. I work in the area of energy efficiency. There is no such aim of ours to be reducing this, but yes, we say that we must go on an efficient and a sustainable path rather than, and avoid wastages wherever necessary. And in that area, I think technological advancements have to be taken note of. I would now like to invite the EPC contractor as to, Mr. Mandal, as to what is his take on this entire issue. Mr. Mandal. Do you have a presentation, Mr. Mandal?
No. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first tell you about what we do. We are basically a company involved in the power sector, and we are operating for the last 30 years in the power, various areas of power and generation or transmission. And our core competency is in making projects for substations and balance of plant in the power plants. Now, I have got, besides this, we also have, for the first time in India, we have taken a project on PPP model. That is in Haryana. That is, we have evacuating power for 100-kilometer length with a couple of substations there, and we evacuate from Jhajjar power plant, Jhajjar generating plant over there. Besides that, we are also doing, this is a boot basis. We will transfer it after 25 years, or maybe extend it to 10 more years. And another project also we are doing, that is in the part in Punjab. that is boom basis. That is our own project. We are building it on our own money. We are operate, maintain, and keep it with us as long as we like to keep it. So this is one. Besides that, we have done a lot of APDRP project. Actually, APDRP project, those who are very involved, worked in this, they will say that that is the first reform, you should say, in electricity. That is the time when the quality of power was better as well as loss was reduced. So, with all these experiences of our distribution side, I have a couple of things to talk about these things, so let me explain to you. I think in India, today current problem is perhaps, as mentioned by Mr. Goswami also, loss. Our loss is quite high. I have got figures which says that in places like some provinces, you see in JK it is 46%, in Jharkhand 31%, Bihar 38%, Arunachal 42%. Whereas there are places like Pondicherry, Himachal Pradesh and Sikkim, they are in the range of 11, 12, 13%. So out of these, all our states, 14 states are making loss up to the extent of more than 20%. The average is around 23, 24% loss. Now, the lot of things being talked. So how to improve? First thing is we have to control this loss. And what are the area, how to control these losses? So I don't know how these discoms are taking. So I have couple of issues to say. So, you see, another, yeah. You see, we are doing one. We are introducing. We have taken some contracts in Maharashtra and MP. We are using one place called STATCOM. STATCOM is a technology which is most recent technology by which you can improve the quality of power, quality of voltage, and also to some extent reduce the loss. So this is a very recent technology, and maybe it can be used all over India. So this is then we have got to, we have another issue, we must say that the cost of generation has to be reduced. Reduce the cost of power. How to reduce the cost of power? You see, today discoms are buying coal at a very high price, whereas Coal India is making profit, but the other consuming companies are making loss. So there has to be some sort of a rationalization in coal prices. So that can be done by using domestic coal and coal linkage, as well as coal swaps from inefficient to efficient plants, and coal price regulation, which can be done by Government of India, and supply of washed and crushed coals. So these are a couple of things by which the generation cost of generation will improve and cost of power will reduce. And another factor I must tell you, the utilization of non-conventional energy. That in the villages, instead of having a power plant in one place and transmitting it to the very long distance and incur loss, it is better to adopt as soon as possible. Government should try to have in remote areas power which is within the city, within the country, and just like Myanmar is doing and many other countries are doing. They are not transmitting, they are putting the power plant over there. In our case, it can put it. In Madhya Pradesh, they have done tremendous job. They have put renewable energy, particularly solar energy, in many places whereby they are consuming much higher solar energy than any other provinces. And system upgradation, which will also reduce the loss. Smart grid is another area where we should put more focus on this, so that with smart grid, whereby you can choose the power, you can supply the cheaper power wherever you are getting. And now coming back to the basic issues of DISCOMs, which is running at a very high loss and all that. So I think that they have to be efficient use of power and cheaper power. DISCOMs have to be healthy. So what is the in this respect, Government of India has made a scheme called Uday. You might have heard of all these things. Uday is a scheme by which the DISCOMs will be able to come to healthy state. The first thing they say that their total debt has to be, as of actually there is a figure, the what is there? States 75% of DISCOM's debts has to be taken over as of 30th September over 2 years. 50% DISCOM debts expected to be taken over in 2015-16 and 25% has to be taken over in 2016-17. So their way, the states, your DISCOMs will save a lot of money and they will start becoming to make it to break-even situation in 2-3 years' time. And then your, of course, upgradation of transformer, meters, as well as energy efficiency measures like efficient LED bulbs mentioned by everybody, and agriculture pumps, fans, which will reduce the ATC losses, and also reduce and eliminate the gap between average revenue realized and average cost of supply. Actually, I personally feel most of the states almost has taken Uday as accepted, although it is optional, but some of the states has not yet taken. But if this is taken by the states, which will be definitely taken, all the DISCOMs will be coming into a healthy situation in next 2-3 years' time. So I find that Uday accelerates the process of reforms across the entire power sector and will ensure that power is accessible, affordable and available to all at a reasonable price. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mandal. So in fact, he also spoke about the ill health of the DISCOMs and how they could be, how they could be taken out from the red, how these AT&C losses, etc., could be corrected. I don't know whether you've heard about a scheme which has been taken up by the Bureau of Energy Efficiency in the past, and it was basically aimed at improving the energy efficiency aspects in the industrial sector primarily, which was the perform, achieve and trade mechanism, where each industrial unit in different energy intensive sectors were given targets to improve their energy efficiency consumptions, that is the specific energy consumption norms. And by virtue of that, industry through technological interventions improved their, reduced their losses, improved their financial health, and the first PAT cycle recently got over on 31st March 2015, and we are now in the, the results have been very, very overwhelming, where all the industry, which there were about 470